There's a fundamental mistake people make when they look at the world and complain about its problems. They assume that the issues around them, corrupt systems, unfair circumstances, suffering, are entirely external. They look at the world and say everything is broken, yet they refuse to look in the mirror and ask, am I broken? See, before you dare to criticize the world, before you tell others how they should change, you need to ask yourself a very important question. Have I sorted out my own life? Life is unfair. That's the first truth you have to accept. It will throw obstacles in your way, people will betray you, and circumstances will often feel stacked against you. But here's the reality. You can either let that break you, or you can take responsibility for your own life and rise above it. Blaming others is easy. It's easy to point to your parents, to society, to bad luck and say, this is why I am the way I am. But what does that do for you? Where does that lead? It only keeps you stuck, powerless, and resentful. If you give away responsibility, you give away control. You allow the world to dictate your future instead of taking ownership of it. The moment you stop blaming, the moment you stop waiting for someone to come and save you, you reclaim your power. No one is coming to fix your life for you. No one owes you success. If you want something to change, you have to be the one to change it. You have to decide that no matter what has happened in your past, no matter how unfair life has been, you will take charge of what happens next. Start where you are. Maybe you're not where you want to be. Maybe your habits are weak, your discipline is lacking, your mind is full of doubts. Fine, but understand this. You don't have to stay that way. You can choose right now to start improving, to start making better choices. One small change today leads to bigger changes tomorrow. Responsibility isn't about fixing everything overnight. It's about committing to steady, intentional growth. Yes, it's hard. It's uncomfortable. It means facing your flaws, admitting your mistakes, and working tirelessly to improve. But what's the alternative? A life of regret? A future where you look back and realize you wasted years waiting for a break that never came? You are stronger than you think. You are more capable than you believe. But you will never know that unless you take responsibility for yourself. Stop making excuses. Stop waiting for permission. Stand up, take control, and move forward. The only way your life changes is if you take the responsibility to change it yourself. Big goals are overwhelming. They seem impossible, like mountains too high to climb. And that's why so many people give up before they even start. They look at where they are and where they want to be, and the gap is so wide that they feel paralyzed. But here's the truth. You don't reach great heights all at once. You get there by mastering the small things first. It's easy to dream about success, about the perfect future where everything falls into place. But dreaming is useless without action, and action starts with discipline, the small daily habits that shape who you become. If you can't control the basics of your life, how can you expect to handle bigger challenges? If you struggle to get out of bed on time, if you can't keep your space organized, if you constantly procrastinate on minor tasks, how will you ever manage something truly significant? People want success, but they don't want the responsibility that comes with it. They want to be fit, but won't commit to exercising daily. They want financial freedom, but can't control their impulse spending. They want respect, but won't put in the effort to be someone worthy of it. The truth is, every great achievement is built on a foundation of small disciplines. Discipline is like a muscle. You don't start by lifting heavy weights, you start small. And as you grow stronger, you can handle more. Start with waking up at the same time every day. Start with setting a goal and sticking to it no matter how small. Start with keeping your word even when no one is watching. These are not trivial things. They are the foundation of self-mastery. And once you master these, something changes. You begin to trust yourself. You develop confidence, not because someone gave it to you, but because you earned it through action. Suddenly, bigger goals don't seem so impossible because you have proof that you can follow through. Success becomes a habit, not a distant fantasy. If you want to achieve great things, don't focus on the end result. Focus on the process. Master the small disciplines and the big goals will take care of themselves. Most people avoid the truth about themselves. They hide behind excuses, distractions, and comforting lies because facing reality is painful. It's uncomfortable to admit your weaknesses, to acknowledge your flaws, to recognize that you're not as disciplined, strong, or capable as you could be. But avoiding the truth doesn't make it disappear. It only keeps you stuck in the same patterns, repeating the same mistakes, living the same unfulfilled life. Growth begins the moment you stop running from yourself. It begins when you have the courage to look in the mirror and see yourself for who you really are, not who you wish you were, not who you pretend to be, but the real, unfiltered version of yourself. Are you living up to your potential? Are you truly putting in the effort? Are you taking responsibility for your life, or are you blaming circumstances, people, or luck? Are you truly living up to your potential? Are you truly putting in the effort? Are you truly putting in the effort? Or are you just laying pretensions because somebody else thinks they should? It's tempting to believe that the problem is always outside of you. That if only your situation were different, if only people treated you better, if only life were easier, then things would improve. But the hard truth is this: you are the common denominator in your life. If you keep experiencing the same struggles, the same setbacks, the same failures, the problem might not be external, it might be you. And that realization is not meant to break you, it's meant to empower you. Because if you are the problem, then you are also the solution. Change starts with radical self-honesty. If you're lazy, admit it. If you lack discipline, acknowledge it. If you let fear control you, recognize it. There is nothing weak about facing your flaws. In fact, it's the strongest thing you can do. Because once you see the truth, you can do something about it. You can make a plan, you can take action, you can improve, but you cannot fix what you refuse to see. This is not about self-hatred, it's about self-respect. Respect yourself enough to stop lying to yourself. Have the courage to face your shortcomings, not because you want to dwell on them, but because you are determined to overcome them. The path to a better life is not found in comfort, but in truth. And once you embrace that truth, nothing will be able to stop you. Happiness is fleeting. It comes and goes like the weather, influenced by circumstances, emotions, and external events beyond your control. People chase happiness like it's the ultimate goal, believing that if they can just have more money, more success, or more pleasure, they will finally feel fulfilled. But happiness alone is not enough. It's too fragile, too unreliable, too dependent on things that can be taken away in an instant. What happens when the excitement fades? What happens when life gets hard? If happiness is your only goal, what will sustain you when things fall apart? There is something deeper, something more lasting than happiness. That is meaning. Meaning is what gives your life purpose, what makes the struggle worthwhile, what keeps you going when everything feels impossible. Unlike happiness, meaning doesn't disappear when life becomes difficult. In fact, meaning is often found in the very struggles we try to avoid. It's found in responsibility, in sacrifice, in working towards something greater than yourself. A meaningful life is not always a comfortable life. It requires effort. It requires discipline. It requires doing things that are difficult, even when you don't feel like it. The person who only chases happiness avoids hard work because it's uncomfortable. The person who seeks meaning embraces hard work because they know it leads to something greater. They don't just do what feels good in the moment. They do what is right, what is necessary, what builds a future worth living for. Meaning is found in pushing yourself beyond your limits. It's found in building something, in creating, in learning, in growing. It's found in being someone that others can rely on, in making a difference, in leaving the world better than you found it. Meaning is found in responsibility, taking ownership of your life, carrying burdens willingly, and becoming strong enough to handle whatever life throws at you. If you live only for happiness, you will always be disappointed. You will always need more, always be chasing something just out of reach. But if you live for meaning, your life becomes something unshakable, Because even in pain, even in struggle, even in failure, you will know that what you are doing matters. And in the end, that is what makes life truly worth living. Strength is not just about how much you can endure for yourself, it's about whether others can count on you when life gets difficult. Everyone wants to be respected, to be valued, to be seen as someone of importance. But that doesn't come from words, from appearances, or from empty confidence. It comes from being the person who stands firm when everything else falls apart. It comes from being the person others can trust, the person who does what they say they will do, the person who carries responsibility instead of running from it. Reliability is rare because it is difficult. It requires discipline. It means showing up even when you don't feel like it, keeping your word even when it's inconvenient, and doing the right thing even when no one is watching. It means being someone who doesn't crumble under pressure, who doesn't make excuses, who doesn't disappear when things get tough. People like that are in short supply, and that is exactly why they are so valuable. If you want to be strong, if you want to be respected, if you want to live a life that matters, you must build yourself into someone others can trust, someone who carries burdens instead of creating them. That means controlling your emotions instead of letting them control you. That means handling responsibility with care instead of avoiding it. That means becoming the kind of person people turn to in times of chaos, not the one who adds to it. This is not about seeking approval. It's not about being liked. It's about being necessary. It's about knowing that when things get hard, when life becomes uncertain, when people around you are struggling, you are the one they can depend on. That is real strength. That is real value. And that is something no one can take away from you. But it doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens through consistent effort, through pushing yourself beyond what is easy, through choosing responsibility over comfort. Every time you keep a promise, every time you take action instead of making excuses, every time you show up when others wouldn't, you are proving to yourself and to the world that you are someone who can be relied on. And that is the foundation for a life of true purpose and meaning. Now, you might ask, where do I start? You start small. Clean your room. Organize your thoughts. Fix your daily routine. Get your diet in order. Stop making excuses. These are simple, foundational actions, but they have tremendous power because they teach you discipline. And discipline is the foundation of competence. And competence is what allows you to take responsibility, not just for yourself, but for others. And here's the key. You don't do this just for yourself. You do it because people need you to be strong. Your family needs you to be strong. Your friends need you to be reliable. Society needs people who are capable, not people who crumble under pressure and complain about the unfairness of life. So before you try to change the world, fix yourself first. Become someone worthy of responsibility. Build yourself into a person who can carry burdens. Then and only then will you have the strength and credibility to truly make a difference. Because the truth is this: if you can't even clean your own room, don't tell the world how to clean itself. Now go, fix yourself first.